In 2007, the world passed a little noticed but critical landmark, the point at which, for the first time in history, more humans were living in towns and cities than in the countryside. In Wales, 2/3 of us live in urban areas. It is therefore vital that we do all we can to improve the urban environment. That means not just tackling air pollution in our towns and cities, or tackling the diversity that is the dumping of sewage into the rivers like Towy and the Ogmore, but also improving access to green spaces in our urban areas. Minister, what steps are you taking to protect green spaces in urban areas and ensure that every community has free and ready access to such spaces?
Yes, thank you, Alta. It's a very important point. It's very much front and centre of our Transforming Towns initiative, where we look to create green infrastructure, as it's called. Green infrastructure is where there's a network of natural and semi-natural areas and features which contribute to high-quality environments, particularly important in urban and peri-urban spaces. One of the things I didn't respond to in Sioned's initial question was the issue about financial incentives to get people to have sustainable gardens. We are very keen to ensure that it's easier to do the right thing than it is to do the wrong thing across Wales. My colleague Joyce Watson has, at a number of occasions in the Senedd, raised the fact that actually, strictly speaking, you need planning consent to pave over an area, a front area in an urban environment. It's not very often enforced in Wales, but we have been writing out to local authorities regularly to remind them that they need to consider the runoff point from that. Because it's not just about biodiversity, it's actually about sustainable water systems as well. So it's very important for that. We need to find a socially inclusive way of making sure that people have access to green spaces. Not if you're just lucky enough to have a garden, you obviously ought to use that in the most sustainable way possible. But also we need to make sure that everyone in an urban or peri-urban area has access to that kind of sustained green space. You simply cannot do that by having hard paved or indeed artificial grass areas. That just does not produce the same quality in the environment. So we need, as I said to Sioned, to look at a range of interventions that we can undertake. And I personally would be looking very seriously to see whether we could actually do an education campaign to make people understand the problems and then actually look to see if we can include it in a ban.